Good afternoon. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. The AAA, the motoring company, has put out its predictions for the 4th of July travel weekend. 43.2 million expected to hit the roads and travel for at least 50 miles. That would be a record, meaning if you are planning out and getting on the road this weekend, you are not going to be alone. Granted, it's only Tuesday. Yes, we're looking forward to what could be a long weekend for everybody, but by doing this early, perhaps we're giving you a heads up, making you think about a couple of things before you take you and your family on the road. We're going to bring in Linda Lambert. She is a spokesperson for the East Central region of AAA. Linda, how are you today? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Let's talk about this busy travel weekend. It is going to kind of be busier than most because with the 4th of July falling exactly a week from today, people are going to take advantage of that. Get out on the road, whether it's Friday after work or Saturday morning. You can stretch this into a 3, 4, 5-day holiday weekend. You expect record numbers. Why is that, or did I just give it all away?
No, you didn't give it all away. This is going to be a record-breaking 4th of July, not just for our roadways, but for our skies as well. But those 43.2 million Americans who will be driving, that is record-breaking. It hasn't been that high since before the pandemic. The highest before the pandemic was 2019, and we're breaking that record according to our projections. So travel is back. People are ready to hit the road. AAA thinks there's still quite a bit of pent-up demand because for so long we weren't allowed to travel, or we didn't feel comfortable traveling. And now that's just not the case anymore. And we're seeing that with all of our travel numbers, whether it's domestic or internationally.
Yeah, isn't that a great feeling to get so far removed of talking about, people still being a little nervous, getting on a plane, driving, being with family. Okay, you have to be outside. Yeah, we've really seemed to have gotten away from that. And the fact that we are breaking a 2019 number, sure points in a very good direction. Let me ask you, and I've got all the numbers here, and we'll share those with people tonight in our newscasts. When we look at the amount of people that have to call for AAA assistance, what a good thing to have, by the way. When we're looking at the East Central region, 48% have to call due to mechanical issues, 20% dead batteries, 11% flat tires, and 9% lockouts. On that topic, what is perhaps the biggest mistake people make? They're about to head out driving 50 or more miles. What is the biggest mistake maybe travelers make before heading out for that road trip?
Either not checking things like their tires and their battery and making sure they have spare keys on their own. But the most important thing you can do, and a mistake a lot of people make, is regardless if they're driving 50 miles or 500 miles, they don't take their car to an approved auto repair shop to have it checked before hitting the road. And as you mentioned, those numbers, our top 3 reasons for roadside assistance calls are always lockouts, dead batteries, flat tires. Most of those calls could be avoided if your car is in proper working condition. AAA has a list on our website, aaa.com, of all our approved auto repair shops, and they offer special pricing for AAA members, and they have gone through rigorous testing, so we know they are extremely dependable. But there are things you can do. Keep an eye out on your tire treads. Check that at least once a month. If your car battery is more than 3 years old, you need to have it tested yearly, because once they reach the age of 3 years, problems can start to occur. And AAA has a mobile battery testing service for members. We'll come right to you and check that battery for you. You also, you want to have an emergency roadside kit in case you do break down. Things like water, snacks, jumper cables, emergency flares. And in the winter, you'd want to have blankets and heavy clothing. We don't need that this summer, obviously. And then you want to make sure that you have spare keys. A lot of cars now have those smart keys. And sometimes when you leave that key in the vehicle and exit with the car running, you can be locked out. So you want to make sure that you have that key on you at all times. And the other thing you can do, a lot of new vehicles do not come with a spare tire. So before you head out on a road trip, check the status of whether you have a spare tire or not. And then your owner's manual will tell you if you don't have a spare, how far you can travel on a run flat type of tire.
I did not know that. I'm going to be honest that I did not know a lot of new vehicles do not have spare tires. I'm thinking about my Ford Explorer and whether or not
It
there's
shocks a lot of people. Yeah.
I suppose if I got a flat, I'll be like, well, I'll just fix it and go back there and be like, how does my brand new car not have a spare tire? That's very interesting. I'll have to look at that. That's food for thought. You've given me a couple of things here. Let's move on to gas prices. AAA, their website, has a great resource, whether it's a trip calculator. How much am I going to spend in gas? And that's very important because if you're on a budget, let's say your budget was $100 or $200 for gas, the AAA calculator can really help you determine, is that going to be enough? You sure as heck don't want to get somewhere 100, 200, 300 miles from home and determine that you don't have enough gas money to get back. What can we expect as far as gas prices right now?
Gas prices are actually trending downward right now, which is unusual as we reach the midpoint of the summer travel season. Demand goes up, therefore prices go up. But what's happening right now is the price of crude oil, which accounts for 50% or more of the cost of a gallon of gas, is in the 60s. Today, it's $68 a barrel. To give you some perspective, last year when gasoline was $5 a gallon and we were breaking records, the cost of crude oil was $120 a barrel. So we're almost half of that today. And that is keeping our gas prices low, and demand has not quite spiked yet. So yesterday, the national average was $3.57 a gallon. Today, it's $3.56. In the Cleveland area, yesterday it was $3.43 a gallon. Today it's $3.40. We're moving in the right direction, especially for those folks who are hitting the road this weekend.
Let me be devil's advocate, and you may not know the answer to this. If I was paying $5 a gallon at $120 a barrel and we're at $60, $68 a barrel, why am I not paying $2.50 a gallon?
If I knew the answer to that question, I could probably be a wealthy woman. A lot of it has to do with, even though the cost of crude oil is 50, 60% of the cost of a gallon of gas, there's also taxes, distribution, marketing, refinery costs, and those vary from area to area.
Sure. When it comes to traveling, it's amazing how much money you can save yourself by doing some simple homework. Getting on the road, especially, I always know that Illinois prices and Pennsylvania prices, where we're bordered not quite Illinois, we get to Indiana, then Illinois. But I know that some of our border states, when you cross that border, wow, gas prices jump up. You may be smart to do some homework and maybe you fill up right before you get out of the state of Ohio, whether it's heading down to Kentucky into Pennsylvania. That's something people can do to save money.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the greatest things you can do, and it's super simple, is download the AAA app on your smartphone. And if you will plug in your route, your destination, it will help you find the cheapest gas prices along the way. And if you do have some issues where you need roadside assistance, you can also call for roadside assistance using the app.
We are speaking with Linda Lambert. She is a spokesperson for AAA for the East Central region that makes up Kentucky, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Linda, we always like to leave the last word with our guests here as people start getting closer, thinking about packing, getting on the road for the holiday weekend. What do you want them to think about?
One of the greatest pieces of advice AAA can give you, and we've been saying this since the beginning of the year when travel numbers started to pick up. If you are traveling by car or by air, pack your patience. It is going to be very, very busy this summer. The airlines, some flights already booked, completely sold out. If you're going to the airport, download your airline's app so you'll know exactly how far ahead you need to arrive. You can even look for parking places online and book them ahead of time. And if you're traveling, especially this weekend, Friday is going to be the busiest day. So you want to get out. INREX is one of our partners that manages mobile data and they track travel times. They recommend that you leave early in the morning on Friday or wait and leave after 6 p.m. on Friday, especially if you're traveling through metropolitan areas where rush hour is busy and crowded anyway. Your wait times could be 30% greater if you don't get up and get out early or wait and leave later.
Some incredible advice. Again, our guest, Linda Lambert with AAA. Linda, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate the knowledge and the heads up.
Thanks, Dan. Happy 4th.
You too. Take care. Just something we wanted you to think about. The 4th of July, exactly 1 week away. Do some homework, get some checking done on your car, the tires, maybe take it in for a quick glance over by your mechanic. Just make sure you're ready to go. And then, as you heard, Friday is expected to be the big busy travel day. If we have any other breaking news, we're going to bring it to you here on our digital properties. But remember, our 3.5 hours of news starts at 3 o'clock, just under an hour from now on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.